There are literally thousands of drive pedals out there for us guitarists to play with. I just looked at Sweetwater, for example, before recording this video, and there are over 1,000 available on there. And I just looked at Thomann as well, and there's about 720 on there right now. So between those two sites, that's comfortably going to be over 1,000 different ones, and those are only what's available from those two, albeit rather large stores. But point is, there are a lot of drive pedals out there, and I don't think there's many people who know them better than Roman from Shnobel Tone, who's made this the Daily Driver. Now, you'll probably know Roman if you know my channel. He's been around on YouTube since 2010 and in the guitar and music scene for a lot longer time. He's been modding pedals and making pedals for a number of years now, and the Daily Driver is possibly the most well-known of those pedals. Now, I was fortunate enough to meet Roman in person earlier in the year at the NAMM show, and he gave me this, the Daily Driver, and also his fantastic Ratatouille higher gain distortion pedal, which is more in the vein of the Proco Rat. And today what we're looking at is the Daily Driver, and we're going to check it out and see how it fares. Now, like I said, Roman has huge amounts of experience with drive pedals, and with the Daily Driver, what he wanted to do was come up with a kind of original drive circuit. So it's not going to be something like a Bluesbreaker clone or a Tube Screamer clone or something like that. This pedal should be kind of its own thing. And Roman's goal when creating this pedal was to create a pedal that would work for everybody, no matter what kind of a player you are, no matter what kind of music you play, no matter what kind of pickups and guitars you're using, or what kinds of amplifiers. With the Daily Driver, you should, in theory, be able to find great drive tones that work for you straight away. And so that's what we're going to put to the test. Now, I'll be using single coil pickups and humbucking pickups in today's video to get as many different kinds of tones as possible, and we'll really see if this can become my new Daily Driver pedal. But first, before we start playing, a little bit of information about this one. Well, it's made in the USA by Roman and his very, very small team. $279 is what this will set you back in 2024, and it's a fairly simple and very cool, aesthetically minimalist looking pedal with this lovely sleek black design. Now, we've got 4 main knobs and 2 switches on this pedal, and this is what they do. At the top, we've got a volume control and a gain control, and at the bottom we have a 2-band EQ, so you've got a low and a high control on this pedal, and we have a 3-way switch here. This is actually a high cut switch. In the middle, it's not cutting any highs. Flick it up or flick it down and it will cut the highs out in different ways, and you'll be hearing those throughout the playing parts of this video. You switch the pedal on and off here, down at the bottom, nice soft switch there, and I'll be powering it via a standard 9-volt power supply. And that's pretty much all there is to it. This is the Shnobel Tone Daily Driver, and what we're going to do next is play it. Like I said, I'll be using my Fender Telecaster for single coil tones and my Epiphone Les Paul for humbucking sounds. Now, take note, my Telecaster has a neck humbucker, but I've got it wired for single coil tones too, so it's going to be true single coils all the way. And we'll play as many different sounds as we can with both guitars, starting with the Tele and then moving on to the Les Paul. We'll start with some clean boosts, try some lower gain drive sounds, and we'll then gradually start winding up the gain control and see how heavy we can get the Daily Driver to go. And after I'm done with that, we'll go into the crunch channel of my amplifier to see if we can use this pedal as a dirty boost, and then we'll get a couple of loops going, one with each guitar, where I really get to twist the knobs and flick the switches, and we can see just how versatile the Daily Driver is and just how extreme we can get it to go in terms of EQ settings and in terms of drive as well. Enough talk then. This is the Shnobel Tone Daily Driver pedal. Let's play it now, and I will give you some more detailed opinions about it afterwards. Okay then, so that was the Shnobel Tone Daily Driver, and I hope you enjoyed the playing and the tones. Leave me a comment down there letting me know whether you thought the Fender Telecaster with its single coils or the Epiphone Les Paul with its high output humbuckers sounded better to your ears. Really interested to hear what you guys think. But what I'm going to do now is give you a few more opinions about the Daily Driver. From my personal perspective, I've had the pedal now for a few months and I have played it an awful lot in that time because it is extremely versatile and it does many things that I do like. So I'll start by telling you about the things that I like about this pedal, and the first thing, thankfully, is those tones. The Daily Driver is a fantastic sounding pedal, and for me personally, the guitars that I use and the kind of music that I tend to play, it just works really well for pretty much everything that I would do. Now, the one caveat that I would have for myself personally there is that when I want to do metal sort of a stuff, there's not enough gain on tap on this pedal, but of course I can run it as a boost on the dirty channels of my amps, or I can stack it with other pedals, and that's no problem at all. But the gain structure and the flavor of this pedal just works really well for me. Like I said in the intro of the video, this pedal was intended not to be a copy of anything else really. It was an original design by Roman and his design cohorts, and well, it does do its own sort of a thing. So it's going to be a drive pedal that has its own little flavor on your board. It's a little bit different from anything else, and I think that's a fantastic option to have as well. But for me, for the lower gain stuff with the Tele, it worked fantastically well. Super clarity across the board with all of the tones. Really nice, sparkly, country and poppy indie tones. And when we wound up the gain a bit, nice, aggressive, Telecaster-esque rock tones too. Like I said, I wouldn't do punk or hard rock or metal with this pedal just on its own, going through a clean amp, but there are many ways to dirty it up. Now, with the hotter humbuckers from the Epiphone Les Paul, we obviously had a lot more crunch coming out through the pedal because it was being driven a lot harder, and you can do harder rock with the Les Paul and this as well. But again, if you're going to be doing something like modern metal, use this as a boost or something, or have something else stacking into it, and it's going to work better for you. But overall, I loved all of the tones that we had. I would say that my personal preference between the two guitars would be for the hotter humbuckers on the Les Paul. That just sounded nicer to my ears. But again, really interested to hear what you guys think as well. And like I've said a couple of times, you probably might want to boost this if you want higher gain tones. And as of 2024, Roman and Shnobel Tone are actually offering a new pedal, the Daily Driver Boost, which combines the Daily Driver with his boost pedal. And well, that does exactly what it says on the tin. You've got the option for up to 27 additional decibels of boost running into the Daily Driver pedal, so that's going to be a fantastic option as well. So apart from the tones, what else is there to like? Well, quite a lot as well. I like the format and the shape of this pedal. It's not super small, but it's not super large either, and it looks cool too. It's made to very high quality standards. I don't think this one is ever going to break. The switch feels great, the controls feel great. It's a nice, quiet pedal too. And for a USA built pedal that costs around $280, well, you would expect it to be this sort of quality, and thankfully it is. And another interesting feature to mention is the three-way high cut switch that you've got here. This is not something that I found myself flicking between very often because it's more natural just to use the high control, at least it is for me. Although I could imagine that if you're gigging and you don't want to change the big knobs on the pedal and you move between two different guitars, you could just flick this switch up to cut some of the highs out, and that's going to work really well. For example, if you're going between a darker, thicker Les Paul and something more nasal, more aggressive and more cutting, like my Telecaster for example, the high cut switch could work really well there. And it does just give you a few more options. So in that sense, it's a very, very cool pedal. What don't I like about it? Well, I've just mentioned that it's quite expensive, but again, these days, $280 for a boutique sort of USA built pedal, it's not that much compared to a lot of the competition. And I really would recommend trying one of these if you ever get the chance and see if it's going to be worth it for you. Now, of course, this being an overdrive pedal, there are literally thousands of competitors to this one as well, so that makes Roman's work a little bit harder too, in terms of making you choose the Daily Driver over the competition. Now, thankfully, the Daily Driver is its own thing, so that is a big USP in itself. Lots of us are searching out our own tones these days, and this is a way to try and do that. But if I was to recommend similar sort of pedals in terms of price point, in terms of the tones that they offer, well, what I would probably do is go to some sort of ballpark priced USA built pedals as well, which I really, really like. Now, I love the lower gain, transparent, sparkly tones out of the Daily Driver, and I can also get similar tones from my Greer Lightspeed, which I love, and my Paul Cochran Timmy, so I'd recommend both of those. And I've got an Analog Man King of Tone on the way as we film this, so I'll be testing that out soon too, but that's probably going to get you ballpark to this sort of a pedal as well. You could also try something like the Wampler Pantheon. That's a USA built blues breaker sort of a pedal, but it does great low and medium gain drive sounds as well. But there really are so many different options. And again, just off the top of my head, something like the Rev Tilt, the Sean Tubb signature pedal, has beautiful, beautiful drive tones, and that has a built-in boost side as well. So that's going to be a great competitor to the Daily Driver boost pedal, which I would also definitely recommend you try out if you just want a bit more output from the pedal. And I've also read recently that the Daily Driver side of the Daily Driver boost pedal has actually been given a bit more headroom. So that's something which I would really like to see as well. And one final thing just to mention is that if you're into your whole stereo thing, there is a stereo version of the Daily Driver available as well for about 450 bucks. Very, very niche, of course, but if you're after a stereo drive pedal, well, there is a stereo Daily Driver available to you too. At the end of the day then, I'm actually a huge fan of the Daily Driver pedal. I've personally tried and owned hundreds of Overdrive pedals over the years, and this does give something a little bit different. It's huge amounts of fun. It is a slightly different take on many of the different Overdrive circuits that you'll have, so it'll give you a different flavor of drive on your board as well. It's great quality, it sounds fantastic, and of course, you'll be supporting Roman as well, one of the OGs when it comes to guitar gear stuff on YouTube, and a great all-round guy. So I can heartily recommend you trying one of these if you ever get the chance. Now I know it's not a cheap pedal, and I know that you'll probably have to order it unseen and unplayed if you're not based in the USA, but give it a chance, and if this is the sort of thing that you're looking for and this is the kind of budget that you're playing with, well, it's definitely up there and should be on any shortlist to at least try out. Now, I hope that you've enjoyed this video and it's answered all of the questions that you might have had about the Daily Driver, but let me know if there's anything else you'd like to know in the comments, and I shall do my best to answer you to the fullest. And if you'd like me to do another video where I try this pedal out with all of my different guitars, well, I'll do that for you as well. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that, and we'll do it, because after all, Roman says that this pedal should work amazingly with every different kind of guitar and every different kind of pickups. So I can run it through all of my guitars here, and we can really put that to the test if you'd like. Let me know, and if you're still around, it would really make my day if you wanted to give the video a like, or maybe even subscribe to my little channel, because that really does help. But that's been it for today's video. I've been Rich, this has been the Shnobel Tone Daily Driver, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.